So, what I was saying, I wanted to do this for a very, very long time. I haven't figured out the best way to do this. So, this is like an experiment from my side. Yeah, if you have any feedback, make sure to chat. Even though the chat is not visible on stream itself, I'm still reading the chat. So it's like on my side. So if you have any questions or anything you want to know or have feedback, even let me know. So yeah, what I wanted to do today is basically something I've been doing for a long time on my job. Let me go to draw.io and describe it for you. So basically on my job we have what is called an enterprise service bus, or let me just call this event bus. So basically what we have is we have this exchange of events, and we have like a couple of microservices that are coupled towards that event bus. So basically what we're going to make today, or at least a part of it, is I want to make a comments adapter. And let me do that again, comments adapter. And that's going to connect to a data store, which is a database. And we are going to make a comments API, which people or websites or applications can connect to. So basically what happens is events will get raised on this event bus. The comments adapter will listen to a couple of those events, and those events will get parsed by the adapter and put into a database. And then the API, when there's a call from a client to like get the comments from a specific topic, then the API gets them out of the data store and shows it to the client. That's basically how that works. So how are we going to do this? Well, we are using PHP 7, of course. We are going to use Symfony 4 as a framework to make this happen. And we are going to use the standards of coding that I've been used to now on my job, which is solid design principles, test-driven development, domain-driven design, hexagonal architecture, and anything related to that, basically. So it's going to be high level. If you don't understand everything, make sure to ask them in chat. And the awesome thing about these techniques is that it's like programming language agnostic. So it doesn't really matter in which programming language you code. You can still do test-driven development. You can still do domain-driven design. You can still do solid design principles. And yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm not sure if we're going to get to the API today. Maybe that's for another day. But at least I want to make a basic adapter and a basic data store. Everything's going to be local. I'm not going to commit anything to GitLab yet, or GitHub, or Bitbucket yet. Not going to put anything online. Everything we are code today is going to be local. So first things first, we need an empty project. We need an empty Symfony 4 project. So we go to the website, symfony.com, and what I want to do is I want to get bare bones started with a Symfony project. I don't need the wget. I don't want that. I just want the old one, which is, where is it? I think it's Symfony. They changed it since last time I was here, so let me take a quick look. It's a Symfony skeleton, but oh my god, Symfony skeleton. And of course I'm going to GitHub now, creating the project. Is this it? This is it. All right. So this is how we're going to get started. I hope I installed Composer, but I'm not really sure yet. CD projects. ls. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's create a project, and let's call this the comments, the adapter comment. All right. So basically, Symfony Composer is like a package delivery system. Basically, Composer is like a big ass library of full of code snippets and packages that we can share through the open source community. So if you don't know what Composer is, that's basically what Composer does. Right now, I'm currently installing Symfony, a basic skeleton from Symfony. So we already have like an out-of-the-box framework to start with. So this is basically it. The terminal command we just used created a lot of stuff, which is currently visible in here. So we got a bin folder, config folder, public folder, source folder, var, vendor, and more. Right now, we're going to use Composer to install some basic requirements. And first of all, I'm going to install PHPUnit. So yeah, we're going to install PHPUnit. PHPUnit is a test package basically. With PHPUnit, we can actually test our code, and that's one of the design principles that we're using. It's test-driven development. So we start by creating the test, and after that we actually write the code. Okay, so PHPUnit Symfony bridge. The funny thing about PHPUnit is it's fully compatible with Symfony. So what we're doing right now is actually create it. So I need to get to my, oops, sorry about that. And we're going to require the Symfony, the PHP bridge. It's installing right now. And there we have it. We got the, if you look in Composer JSON, you can also see right now that the Symfony PHPUnit bridge is installed only for the dev environment within within Symfony. So now we got that running. Then I want to get my basically my service up and running. So we got PHPUnit. We need to configure it later, but I want to have my environment up and running as well. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to create a Docker file, and Docker actually allows me to make a local testing environment without having to install all the necessary stuff for PHP or for the database that we're going to use later on. Could you zoom the code in so it's easier to read? Yeah, sure. Hang on. Work. Oh my god, it works. Wow. Look at that, guys. This is a lot better. I think this is a lot more readable, right? So PHP Storm, we can do anything with it. All right, so where were we? Oh yeah, Docker. So Docker is the platform that we're using to actually containerize our environment, so that we don't have to basically install PHP 7, install MySQL, install everything related to it. That's what Docker takes care for us. And the awesome part is that the configuration file for Docker gets committed to our Git repository. So when other developers get this piece of code, they can actually easily set up their Docker as well. So we don't have like the problem that my version of PHP is higher than the version of my colleague's PHP version, etc., etc., etc. All right, so Docker. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I have my Docker already set up. I'll walk you through with it and change the necessary stuff that we need. So here's my Docker container, and as you can see, we use what's called a Docker file. This is a little bit of magic. Just ignore it. I can explain every single rule what it does, but just for now, think of it as we install PHP with this, and we copy our directory towards the virtual environment where PHP is running. So when we change a file here, it gets changed in our web server immediately as well. This is our web server, Nginx. This is a configuration for it, and PHPUnit is our debugger, which I'm not sure we're going to use today. I'm not sure if it's configured properly, but we'll see about that later. And we need one more thing, which is the Docker Compose file. Okay, so this is our Docker Compose file. This is basically where the magic happens. So Docker Compose actually says, hey, give me a web container with the image nginx. Nginx is a standard image. Copy everything into the /app directory that's in this folder. Map it to map my local port 8000 to the port 80 on the container, and make another one with PHP with the Docker file that we put in this folder, and create a database, which we don't need right now. So I'm not going to do the database part yet. I will save that for later. And now the funny part is we just do docker compose up over here, and of course it gets an error. First error of the day, obviously. There we go. So where did you saw Redis? Where is Redis? I don't need Redis. Go away, Redis. Redis is a caching extension, and we don't need caching for an adapter. So that's a good point. All right, so we do not depend on the database anymore right now. Let's try this again. So right now, it's actually pulling PHP 7.3 from the internet. It's getting Docker is basically for me now getting PHP, getting everything that we defined in the Docker Compose file, makes a nice little package from it, and then runs the package. So we can actually run our code inside the package. And then, yeah, we test it out. This environment should be up and running. As you can see, look at here, it says creating done, and you can see right now it's running, which means that port 8000 should link to port 80. Port 80 is our nginx. So if I go to my web browser right now, and I go to HTTP localhost 8000, we should see welcome to Symfony right there. As you can see, it all works. All right. So my Docker is ready. As you can see, my environment is ready, which is awesome. Right now, we need to make a functional test. Timmy Topdeck, welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. When you store them, are you deleting what's not needed? Probably. This is super helpful, by the way. You can use the framework for everything. Yeah, that's so true. You can definitely use the framework for everything. So, where were we? Oh yeah, tests. We installed PHPUnit. Let me actually make a test folder. This is already here. And let me configure my PHPUnit so it actually listens to my Docker. This is what we're going to do right now. So what I want to do is when I run my tests, I want PHP Storm, my editor, to basically run those tests on the Docker instance itself. I want because I want it to use the PHP version from my Docker container, etc. So that's what we're going to do right now. We create an interpreter. This is very complex, and if you want to understand everything, then I can zoom in a bit on it. But for what we're going to do today, it's not really necessary to know all the details about this process. So don't mind me. Let me do this real quick. /app. All right. Now we're actually mapping our project root to /app, and /app is basically the app folder that we defined in the Docker Compose file. And then we go to test frameworks. We create a new test framework, PHPUnit, by this interpreter that we just created. And we install PHPUnit with this. So we got vendor bin simple PHPUnit, apply. It should work with me. Oh no, it's not working because I've got /app. There we go. As you can see, it's right now it's getting Composer again and installing PHPUnit. And now we're doing this /app phpunit.xml. All right, and then we need to create it. So I'm creating a, oops, PHPUnit.xml. There we go. All right. So what I just did is I routed my PHP unit to simple PHP unit in this vendor map. And this vendor map is basically everything that's in this vendor map. It's is there because we used Composer. So we used Composer to install Symfony. We used Composer to install the Symfony PHP unit bridge, and that's actually this file right here. We have this test folder, and we've written our tests there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to showcase a little bit what we can do with tests. So for that, that's before we're actually going to get towards our comments module, but I want to show you guys something that why our way of coding is so powerful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a test, and the test is called I am alive controller test. This test will actually check if the service is available. It serves a purpose on our live AWS service as well, because we use this endpoint that we're going to create right now to actually check if our service is available. If it's not available, AWS will actually kill the instance, the service that it's running, and restart it for us. So this endpoint, apart from me showcasing how tests work, is also for us very important because it basically tells AWS that the service is alive. I forgot something. We need to install one more package, which is the Liip functional test bundle. This bundle is again a Composer bundle, and of course the Composer thing doesn't work. So what this does is it gives me the possibility to actually create functional tests. And well, if you code with tests, then you have like 3 types of tests. You have unit test, you have functional test, and you have integration tests. All serve a different purpose. If you want to know more about it, let me know in chat. But for now, keep in mind that what I'm going to do right now is make a functional test, and I need this library for it. All right, so here we are. The functional test is loaded. Functional test bundle is loaded. As you can see in my vendor package, the Liip is added. And in my configuration, you can see that the kernel, sorry, it's over here. No, it's not over here. Never mind. Where is it? Where are you? Bundles.php, sorry. You can see that the Liip functional test bundle is added to my bundles. Next up, we have this test over here, and it's going to extend a class called web test case. And let me check something real quick. So what we want to do is we want to create a test over here. So we make a comment at test. This tells the editor that there's a test right here, and you can basically look up all the tests within an application. And we're going to call it public function it, basically the test, returns a 200 status code. And within this test, we are saying to the application, okay, you know what I want you to do? If you run this test, I want you to get a client. And a client is this, create a client. The create client method is specified within the web test case. So the web test case actually allows us to make an easy client. And this client, what it does is it's doing a request. And if I'm doing this right, the syntax would be, method is get. And the path is, let's say, adapter. And the name is comments. And the endpoint is I am alive. All right, so basically this test for us right now creates a client and does a request to this endpoint. We also obviously need to assert something. So this assert equals, let's say 300 $client get response. Oh, I'm sorry. Get response get status code. Well, let's actually say 200 because I'm getting a fill test anyway. Because what I end up doing is just start on the thing I want to do right away and end up in giant spaghetti mess quickly. But basically, that's the exact this is the reason why we're doing this first, because test-driven development allows us to actually create code based on a test right here. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to run the test. So if you see, you will see it right now. If I run this test, it will fail because I haven't specified an endpoint yet. See, so this route, it says, okay, I want to check this route, but there is no route. So what are you telling me? Okay, so this test tells us basically what our next step is, and that's beautiful because at the end you will have like maybe 30, 40, 50 tests, and if you change something, then you run your 50 tests again. And if one of the tests fails, then you see, hey, there is something here that's not right. And that's what you're doing. And fails, so you have fix or fill everything. Exactly. All right, so this one fails because we do not have an endpoint yet. So let's create an endpoint. We do this in Symfony by simply going to routes and actually create an endpoint. So let's say I am alive. The path is, well, it's the same as that one. Adapter comments I am alive. And the controller we're going to use is app / controller / sorry, not controller, I'm a moron. I can actually make it in this folder. I don't see why I should make a specific folder just for the I'm alive. So I am alive controller. And let's call the function handle. So we're telling our routing mechanism to check for if this route is gotten, like it's doing right here, go to this class and call the function handle. So yeah, let's create this controller class right now. I am alive controller. Here we go. And we will create a public function handle. And oops, according to I am needed to do this. And this handle gets I believe a request out of my head. So this I'm not sure. So it might be that it's going to get on me right now, but I believe that I could just do this. Return response. Oops. Return new response. This is the wrong class. I'm sorry, guys. There you go. And now I want this one. I believe if I do it like this, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? Oh yeah, empty response, and it's fine. Good point. Sorry. There we go. All right, so we have this controller made. We have this handle thing. We don't do anything with the request, but just for our testing purposes, we say, hey, return a new response with this, with 0 content in it, because we don't check the content as well. So let's run this test again. Let's see what it does. Oh, obviously, yeah, that's because I used the folder thing, and now it's now it's using the file itself, so it's installing Composer again for that specific test. So let's wait a second when this is done, and I'm curious to see if the test works. All right, the test works, as you can see. Test results, bam, it works. Let me actually run. Why isn't it? There we go. This is a bit prettier. As you can see, we have one OK test, and it does one .search in. So right now we have made a working endpoint, basically, for the I'm Alive controller, which is awesome. So now we know, now we have a functional test that works.